again by the pride of Miami, Geraldine Martin.
Oh, say. What so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. Oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
And Empire State SmackDown moves south all the way to Miami with beautiful shoreline and, of course, neon lights as we get set for AVP Week 3, day number 2. It is a battle between the Brooklyn Blaze and the New York Nitro. Welcome inside Wayfair Arena, a perfect venue to host the AVP League. Last night we saw a jam-packed action from start to finish, and you can guarantee it's not going to end this day. Taylor Crabb, Taylor Sander, Cook, and Miller, that's our first battle as we get set. Hi everyone, Cameron Irwin alongside two-time Olympian Rich Lamborn, and the fellas getting us started today. It's going to be a good battle between these teams, everyone fighting for the cup standings positions.
Well, yeah, and more importantly, both of these teams fighting for their first win. The tough news for the Brooklyn Blaze is it's their second weekend in action, still looking for that opening win. Same thing is true of the New York Nitro. So that's kind of the biggest stakes for both of these teams in this first match of the evening.
Well, if you're joining us for the very first time, each one of these city franchises is comprised of a men's and women's duo. So let's take a look at the four that represent the Brooklyn Blaze as they rock their way into the stadium. And this is the New York Nitro. Crabb and Sander will be our first duo this evening, alongside Corinne Quiggle and MJ Rice. That's Megan Rice as we get set. But let's learn a little bit more about each of these teams. As we look to the standings now, LA at the top of the order, 4-0. Palm Beach, they sit at 4-2. Brooklyn at 3-3. And an unbeaten Brooklyn team on the women's side really carrying the load. Again, this is a win-loss record. It goes off of that percentage, so you'll get a chance to see these teams try and score a couple more of those wins to push over and eclipse potentially one of those 2 and 3 seeds. As you look to the Brooklyn Blaze, meet Sean Cook and Brian Miller. These guys coming off an incredibly tough loss last night and 3 sets played. What's the focal point for them?
Well, they played some very good volleyball last night against the Palm Beach Passion. They were very aggressive in their offensive game. We see Miller's stats. I mean, he picked it up tremendously from the week 1 performance where he was suffering with a little bit of illness, so maybe that contributed to the low hitting numbers. But decision-making is the key for them in kind of the tight moments when things get close. They like the highlight reel plays. They're great at providing those for us, but you got to be a little prudent also out there in order to get some wins.
One from the state of Washington, one all the way from Scotland. Sean Cook coming across the pond, and now a U.S. citizen as they get set. And you mentioned the play, Brian Miller. He is a rookie in the league as he looks to gain experience. And on the other side of the net, it's going to be the New York Nitro, Taylor Crabb and Taylor Sander. Taylor Sander, a two-time Olympian from the indoor side of the game, and they took a loss, like you mentioned, to Trevor Crabb and Phil Dahlhauser.
Yeah, it was a tightly contested crab boil, we like to call it, obviously, between the brothers. Always a tough matchup because Trevor and Taylor know each other so well, so there's that extra dynamic. But Taylor and Taylor, so strong last regular season in the AVP League. They'd like to get back to their winning ways here this evening.
This is a team that made the playoffs last year, however, didn't make it to that championship. Your 2024 champion was the San Diego Smash, the Dallas Dream finishing just in second. As, of course, this duo of the New York Nitro and the entire crew from the Nitro finishing all the way up into the semifinals before taking a loss. Sean Cook, Brian Miller, the right side of your screen. Taylor Crabb and Taylor Sander, the left side. Some jumpy sand here in Wayfair Arena. Do they stay away from Brian Miller?
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Serving tough is going to be important for both of these teams. Some really dynamic and physical offenses.
There's the one-arm stab. That's Taylor Crabb. How about a pokey set? Kept alive. Wayfair quiets as the hat is taken right off the head of Sean Cook.
Can you de-lid somebody? Yeah, they're again kind of the highlight reel play. It didn't negatively impact that, I don't think, but for me, the better place to swing away on two if you're Sean Cook than go with the knuckle pokey. T. Crabby getting the triple ace to back up the good defensive work.
New York Nitro now lead 2-0. Sander coming off an indoor season in Indonesia. He's back on the sand, finding his sand legs, and it looks like he found the Hulk smash. Which way was the net violation?
Yeah, that's interesting, because it looked like Miller was in the net first, right?
All right, let's check in with the third member of our crew, Kevin Burnett.
Thanks, Cam. You just mentioned it about the coming off of Indonesia for Taylor Sander. This pair just back together, and they're still kind of dialing in their game. They said tonight the focus is on their side. They want to be more aggressive from the service line. You've seen that already from Taylor Crabb. If they feel like they can get their game going, they can compete with anybody. And one thing you may have picked up if you're one of those volleyball purists been paying attention this year and last year, they switched sides. So we'll see how that continues to develop for them and if they stay there or if they switch back at some point during this season.
That's a great call by you, Kevin. Taylor Crabb is looking, is that a potential ace? It is just that from Taylor Sander, but he moved back to the left side. What's the benefit of that with this duo?
Well, the benefit of that is you can go with the option play a lot more. It plays into Sander hitting that ball on two because it's on his strong arm, and you see how strong that arm is.
I mean, just walloping the ball on both sides of the net.
Yeah, it's a bludgeon fest out there. Like you said, there's jumpy sand. There's no conditions to contend with, right? No wind, no sun. So you get some pretty spectacular athleticism.
The target was Crabb last night in the crab boil as he chokes that one down.
Yeah, that's a nice shot from Crabby. Not really a shot, not a hit, somewhere in between, a little 60-70% slapper.
Taylor Sanders saw just 4 attempts in last night's match and 2 sets played. As he's now up, looking for the block and finds one.
Tremendous timing on that block from Sander. You see him kind of go late, hiding and not giving away your position, the name of the game in beach blocking. Watch, Miller gets up first, then Sander goes, just jumps right into that angle beautifully.
Taylor Crabb putting the top spin on that serve. I feel like that's some newness from him. Sometimes you see him use that hybrid float.
Yeah, it's something, I had the opportunity to work with Taylor for a long time, and it's something we talked about. I mean, he's so confident in his defense that he doesn't want to make a lot of service mistakes, right? If you are more aggressive from the service line, some errors start to creep in just kind of naturally. But he can be. Ooh.
Sean Cook finds an ace right up the middle.
And just to finish that thought, Taylor Crabb capable of being very devastating from the service line just with his control, right? You don't have to pop it necessarily, but placement also of paramount importance.
Quiet platform on the left side of Sander. Sends that back to the line. Taylor Sander returned to the U.S. just about 3 weeks ago. He's told me he's trying to find his sand legs. Only a couple practices alongside Crabb, but this duo, of course, played in the 2024 AVP League. As that's a hammer from the right.
Yeah, and that's what the Blaze need to continue to do. That's the mindset. We've seen Miller be aggressive. Sean Cooks needs to stay aggressive as well. They're just much better when they're using their physicality, not trying to finesse the ball around the court.
Miller looking for the sideline, and it is now 8-5 for New York Nitro. Has a 3-point advantage, and to your point, both these teams looking for their first win in 2025 in the AVP League. Do the slow walk to the other side.
Who's rooting for the New York Nitros? Taylor Crabb and Taylor Sander.
Well, probably, arguably, our most popular team on tour, the Taylors. Everyone loves that man right there, Taylor Crabb.
Get a chance to see Crabb in action. Now, one of the coaches over at St. Mary's said he's really enjoying getting a chance to work with those athletes as he serves up yet another ace.
Back to back, and that is what Taylor is capable of from the service line. It's just a matter of kind of determination as far as implementing it into his game.
Well, we always talk about service pressure. 5 aces already and just 15 points played between these two teams. Yeah, they're no doubt bringing it from that service line.
Yeah, not bad if you can get 33% of your points from the service line.
You look to Sean Cook and Brian Miller. You've been watching the U.S. Open. Well, Sean Cook actually learned to play beach volleyball just adjacent to St. Andrews.
Oh, wow.
Of course, one of the most iconic golf courses in the entire world. He said, yeah, you had to pass by the course, 2 pubs, and you found yourself on an incredibly windy beach. Said no slices came that direction as the wind would typically push all the balls back on towards the fairway.
Yeah, that's lucky. That's lucky because I imagine there can be a lot of errant balls there.
He also said you got to watch out for the clamshells. Trained him tough. Came away with some bloody knees. A few cuts and scrapes for Sean Cook. These two having played 3 matches thus far throughout the league. 2 of them were 3-set losses, the last 2. Just previous was Cape Shock and James Shaw. Prior to that was Buttinger and Evans. For the New York Nitro, this is just their first event in 2025, and their second match. Miller cushions that. Quick side outs on both sides of the net.
Yeah, it's nice to get back on the horse there if you're Cook and Miller, but you need to be aggressive from the service line here now. Can't let the Nitro be comfortable in their side out game if you hope to climb back here in set number 1.
Crabb gets right up from his knees, and there it is, Miller time.
Yeah, that's a nice block, kind of outside his body to his right side from Brian Miller. Good eye work and hand work kind of working in conjunction there.
Let's check in with Kevin Barnett.
Yeah, Cam, I think often we talk about how athletes have to manage family and friends coming into a match, right? Getting ready for a weekend, dealing with ticket requests, whatever their pregame rituals happen to be, and how the presence of family and friends affects that. But for Brian Miller and the Blaze, it was post-match having an effect. Yesterday he was having dinner after the loss. He played some of his best volleyball, played certainly the best we've seen him in the league. And the talk was about how excellent his play was. But for Brian, the result is completely wrong, and he's hungry for that W. So he's like, yeah, guys, this is great and all, but the scoreboard is what we need. And he'd take a few less kills on his side for a better result, like on that point there. And he settled in, and he had settled in that match. He said that coming into week 1, he kind of got more and more nervous as it went. That was unexpected. He's not normally that guy. He normally has some butterflies to start. We saw the true Brian Miller last night, effective offensively and playing big at the net. We've seen that again tonight.
Should keep talking about him right now. They're on a 4-0 run. It was 5-10. As Sanders sends that way wide, trying to find some high hands.
Yeah, just, I mean, kind of an unbelievable, I don't know if we'd call it meltdown, because you have to credit the pressure that the Blaze have kept on the Nitro here. But atypical for the Nitro to give up 5 straight.
It was 5-10, now 10-10 as a timeout is taken. Crab and Sander, this is pretty typical as you look to their box right now. Not a whole lot of conversation. Maybe it's just 1 or 2 anecdotes in terms of an adjustment. And these two, even though they don't have a coach in the box, they actually are coached by Stafford Slick back at home. So you see the numbers now on screen. But they're having to make adjustments just in terms of conversation from one to the other.
Yeah, well, absolutely. There's not really much to say if you're in the Nitro box. You just got to side out. I would be curious to see if the Nitro start to implement some of the stuff we saw from them last night, running a lot of kind of different offensive plays, shoots to the pin and so forth with Taylor Crabb to try and elude the block a little bit of Phil Dahlhauser in the Palm Beach Passion yesterday evening, doing kind of just the standard vanilla offense right now, and it's hasn't been working the last few points, so let's see if they switch it up here.
Taylor Crabb credited some of those slides you saw last night to the fact that he is now coaching at St. Mary's, his first time coaching a collegiate rink.
It is interesting how kind of taking that outside looking in viewpoint can help your game once you go back to playing.
Can they stop the bleeding? Crabb does with finesse.
And it gets that one out a little wider, so it's not that much of a wrinkle, but just a little bit of a different point of attack along the net. Opens up that angle for him.
We've seen this in late play. Lots of runs, 3-4-point runs. Teams forced into making adjustments even quicker with these expedited sets. As Miller goes up, a unique contact. Was that the panda poke? As that's followed to the line.
Yeah, the panda poke, I like that. Yeah, that's a big missed opportunity, but Sander had to go with that, touched it on the block.
Through AVP League history, there have been about 13 runs of 5-0 or better. They seem to be climbing as the side set. There's that slide attack and finds his hand.
Yeah, and it just obviously puts a lot of pressure on the blocker, but it tends to freeze the defender as well. And so Krabby's got that good vision as he's moving along to pick that set off, and then Cook just gets kind of frozen in the backcourt.
Rolls that one in, easy platform.
Oh, yeah.
Unfooled is Taylor Sander.
Well, he likes to do that swing block, kind of implemented a little bit more last season in the AVP League. Coming from an indoor background, it's a pretty comfortable kind of blocking style you see as he moves laterally there. So he's set up perfectly for that option.
Trouble once more. The answer has been down the middle time and time again.
Well, Krabby's setting that up nicely as well with kind of those short off-speed jump serves and then ramping up the pace up the middle there to bring them to 3 set points.
Already 4 aces on the mix. An overpass sent out of bounds. And the New York Nitro escape with set number 1 after letting up a 5-0 run in the midst of it.
And that kind of encapsulates the varying heart rate you might encounter being a fan of the Nitro, because they go on runs, but they also have a tendency at times to give up runs. And so that's kind of what we saw there in the opening set. They got out to a pretty big lead, gave it up, and then closed with a pretty strong run of their own from the service line.
Who is going to handle the momentum shifts better? Will it be Crabb and Sander or Cook and Miller? Miami awaits.
How about a little magic, huh?
is the New York Nitro taking on the Brooklyn Blaze. As you look to set one, stats Cameron Irwin alongside Rich Lamborn, Kevin Barnett out on the sand as well. And pretty neck and neck from an efficiency standpoint. What was the difference maker?
Well, you look at that last line there, aces to errors. The Nitro with 5 aces and 0 errors. That's a phenomenal service performance, and that is kind of what led directly to their big lead early and their big close late.
It was 4 aces from Taylor Crabb and 1 from Taylor Sander to earn that number. You see Sander on the sand. He told me he has a renewed energy coming into 2025 and coming off that indoor professional season. He said, any reps, any volleyball reps are good reps.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, it's got to be fun if you're as talented as he is to get back to the indoor game, kind of where you made your mark, so to speak. But then it's always fun to get back in the sand, just such a more relaxed kind of lifestyle. This beautiful arena that we get to play in, you know, the lights and the fans and all that stuff.
And sets like that, that's a great touch from Miller. Sander pulls off the net. He also said it was a little bit easier on his body too, coming back to the sand and not having to deal with just the consecutive pounding attacks.
Well, I mean, you know, a lot of that's his own fault because he jumps so dang high. The pounding the knees take are of his own doing.
When you're so talented, it actually hurts.
Right.
Quick 1-2 step from Taylor Crabb. Some of the best vision in the game. He kind of saunters around the court.
Yeah, he walks on top of the sand. You know, the sand displacement, it contributes heavily to why he's so quick.
He jukes right and moves to the left, unable to handle.
He and I used to play short court to warm up, and it would look like a nuclear bomb went off on the side of the sand that I was on, and it looked like freshly raked sand on the side he was on.
No one needs to rake the sidelines, just stick Taylor Crabb out there and drag him across.
Right.
I mean, he is putting on a clinic from a shot selection perspective here in set 2.
Yeah, Cook had a good beat on those shots kind of midway through that first set, but you don't expect to hold Crabby down for too long. He can move it around any which way. Oh yeah.
Oh, that ball was going wide.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to tell. It gets on you in such a hurry. You've got to make that split-second decision, and Miller's trying to go with it. Glances off his arms and out.
Miller works behind off the high set, and that is right in the platform. Another cut. I mean, it's just like salt in the wound. He can hit you with the power and then, unfortunately, throw the off speed right in your direction.
Just so I don't always seem to be poo-pooing it, if it doesn't work out, I love to see him swinging a little more aggressively in transition. That's a great shot, and it worked out.
Cook put on his track shoes, and that's the first real roar we've heard from him.
Yeah, there hasn't been all that much to scream about, save when they made that good comeback in the middle of the first set. But that was a tremendous chase down and kind of trouble set from Sean Cook. Save a side out.
Strong serve for Cook.
Yeah, both teams just beating the ball from the end line.
Quick move for Crabb. Which way will it fall? Oh. No, that's Taylor Sander on the defense.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, hopefully there's, looks like there's no injury there. Gets dicey when both guys are kind of near the net. You can bang knees, you can bang feet and ankles.
Look at that shot.
You know, the back flippy from Sander.
A little mahi with that one.
Ooh, yeah.
There's the collision.
Yeah, Miller immediately apologizing because he starts looking for a part of his body that wasn't into the net on that play.
Big block. Time to go down to the sand with Kevin Barnett.
Cam, you talked about the arm of Taylor Crabb and the way that he can move the ball around, how he's putting on a clinic with that. That's because this guy will play anywhere, anytime, any style of volleyball. He gets more diversity of touch and diversity of game than anybody else playing short court with Rich years ago. And not only is he hitting the ball 2 spots with his service as he did just now, he's going around the side of the ball. So he's working to the side of the player and around the side of the ball to continue to add English to it. And that's got to be tough if you're Scottish.
If
Taylor
he just did that whole report just so he could say that line.
I love it. I love it. If you don't hit a shot with Brogue, it's going to elude Sean Cook, is the implication there from Kevin Barnett.
Good work, Kev. Good work. Brian Miller.
Yeah, he was all over that shot, though. A couple good swats from Miller up at the net thus far in this match.
Set inside, and there's the finesse, this time from Sander.
Yeah, again, just those little offensive wrinkles. You see kind of the step in, the lower set for Sander, and the defense almost just has to freeze where they're at. And so you expect Taylor Sander in particular to just tee off on that, and any little soft shot like we saw is wide open for him.
8 aces already in this match. The 9th is fended off by Cook. Sander, one of the more undersized blockers on the men's side, which is wild to think because he's 6'5".
Yeah, I mean, he makes up for it with the tremendous leaping ability, and it's a skill that he's improved vastly kind of year over year, his time on the sand.
Wide set, and there's the 6'8" block of Brian Miller. Now a resident of San Diego, originally from the Pacific Northwest. I don't know if they're seeing those kind of blocks at Alki Beach.
Yeah, that was a great blocking position. And Brian Miller just perfectly set up in that angle.
His 3rd block. We'll get that updated for you. 6 total kills. Nearly hit 600. I mean, it's like cat and mouse.
Yeah.
Trying to block him.
Who's rooting for Brian Miller and Sean Cook to Brooklyn?
Tight turn here as it's 8-7. You ask for decision making on the side of Cook and Miller. Feels like this is the critical juncture.
Yeah, I think they've been solid, but just keep an eye out if we get into a long rally or something, if they stick with that. Hopefully they do.
Slide. That's the first slide we've seen from Miller. And how about block number 4?
Yeah, I mean, good fortune there a little bit from the Blaze. I think there was, you said it was a slide. It looked like a little bit of a miscommunication, almost a forced slide, right? But that set in transition a little too far inside from Sander to Crabb, and Miller right there to smother it.
Got the blocks updated for you now. Caught a piece of the net, caught a piece of hand. We'll give it to him. Looking for the jumbo shrimp as Sean Cook starts to beat his chest.
Sean Cook all over that one.
No one celebrates another opponent's error like Sean Cook.
Right. The good news is he celebrates his partner's successes equally as fervently.
He does. Sander barely there. Wow, I thought there could have been a touch on that.
Yeah, you heard a loud slap, but I think because Miller had to kind of chase, you could see Sander was up in the air a little bit early. Wasn't able to get all the way on top of that ball, and now Nitro in a little bit of a hole.
Quick set as, again, Crabb checks down to the line.
Yeah, like we talked about in set 1, this is the Achilles heel of this New York Nitro squad at times, as they kind of ebb and flow a little more than you would like to see them do for such a talented team. You'd like to see a little bit more consistency start to finish.
Do you feel like it comes in one phase of their game or a multitude?
Well, I mean, that's a good question. It kind of depends how we want to characterize it. They get the benefit of the hitting mistake there from Sean Cook. I think sometimes it can be a little bit of an attention to detail thing. And so there's, you know, if there's a defensive opportunity and you lack a little bit of attention to detail, the quality of contact is diminished. That also can be a factor in the side-out game, you know what I mean? And just those little things can turn into big errors, so to speak.
We were at 10-10 in set one. Exact same spot now as Cook takes the lead, 11-10. Who's going to clean up the small details?
Yeah, I like that the Blaze, Cook and Miller, staying aggressive. Even if they make a mistake, even if they get blocked and give up a point, they're not shying away from that good aggression.
Nasty serve pays off. Ace number 3 for Cook.
Perfect indeed. It is 12-10 for the Blaze.
Clears the runway from the right side of the court. The target was right down the line at Crab. Tosses left and off speed.
Oh, wow, yeah. Just a little bit of missed timing. I think that can be, you know, one of the difficulties when you play indoor for a lot of the time. The timing's just a little bit different coming out into the sand, and even when you fly, like Taylor Sander does, that timing can be just ever so slightly off.
The juke from Crab. And what a reach. Little tip down from Miller.
Yeah,
Gets him to set point.
Miller's extension is a little bit longer than Crab is kind of expecting out of him. That's now 3 at least that he's swatted on the shot attempts.
And 5 total blocks. Now a 9-3 run on the side of Brooklyn.
11-14.
That was a first set point. I feel like you just got to get that in play. I know you've got room.
Yeah, you never like to miss on set points or match points. It helps to have a 3-point cushion, but you never like to leave the door open for your opponents either.
Just think back to set 1 against Shock and Shaw last night. And
I think that was way wide of Sander. I don't know. Sander looks to be chuckling, so maybe there was a touch. Easier to be magnanimous about a missed call or what you perceive to be a missed call when you still have 2 set points.
third look to take set 1, and third time is the charm. Sean Cook, or excuse me, set 2. Sean Cook and Brian Miller even the set score 15-11, 15-12. And they are going to a third set for a third straight match.
They like to get their money's worth, Cam.
As that one finds the depth of the court. Cook and Miller 0-3 on the season. Their counterparts, the women coming up next, Dinneberg and Donlin sitting 3-0. Currently ranked 3rd in the cup standings. One of these 2 teams is going to pick up their first win of the season.
Yeah, Lexi and Julia would be delighted for their counterparts to start pulling their weight.
Well, and it's intriguing, too, because when you consider the context, last year, Dallas closed out the regular season as the #1 seed. They had 12 total wins. So when you think of a team that's maybe a little lopsided from one gender to the other, you're going, well, even if you win out 8 wins, that's still not enough to get you to that top spot, right?
Right.
So you got to have strength on both sides. Let's check in with Kevin Barnett.
Yeah, Cam, right at the end of that set, Taylor Sander coming off super frustrated, and I asked him, what part of your game are you frustrated with? He just said, the errors. It's on our side. We're making too many errors.
So watch for the errors. Again, after starting out 4-0 in third sets in the league in 2024, this team, the Nitro, then proceeded to lose the last 3 3-set matches. So they're looking to change the tide in 3 sets. Let's take a look at what's coming tonight. Corinne Quiggle and Megan Rice are going to be battling out against the Brooklyn Blaze in the women's matchup. Lexi and Julia next up on the sand, and then you're going to want to change your attention on over to the CW for Trevor Crabb, Phil Dahlhauser versus Kame Schulk and James Shaw. The ladies will close out the evening. Get a chance to see the ladies in pink. Melissa Mata-Paredes and Brandy Wilkerson. They sure have found their stride since week 1 in Palm Beach. Is it in? Is it out?
Yeah, I thought that caught the end line at the last minute there, but it was slow enough to be well seen. No challenge requested.
Kevin mentioned the errors from Taylor Sander. He has 4 in this match. 6 total kills on 11 attempts. He's hitting just 182. His partner, 063.
Yeah, those are atypical numbers. And again, you have to credit the defense of the Brooklyn Blaze. Brian Miller in particular putting up some impressive blocks against the Nitro, but it is a little bit of a self-inflicted wound on the side of the Nitro with those hitting errors.
10 total errors on the side of Crabb and Sander combined. For Cook and Miller, just 5.
Yeah, starting out with back-to-back service errors. Probably not what they're looking for in this third set.
And the Brooklyn Blaze find a steady, consistent form here in set 3. And there's block number 6.
He is just setting up beautifully against Crabb and kind of reaching both directions. This time it's again into the angle.
I mean, these are crazy numbers from Miller. They find the option, move to the right side.
Yeah, that was nicely done. Good choice, good execution from Sander. Not an easy play, too, because he's got to kind of turn against his momentum a little bit.
Coming into the night, Sander actually led the lead in hitting efficiency, but he had only had about 4 total kills on 5 attempts last night, as that is sent right to the shin. Crabb not man some guards.
Yeah, Sander trying to swing block to get in front of big Brian Miller, but Brian finding plenty of open angle and some trajectory.
Crabb, big swing, and the left arm cuffs it. It's got to go. Heads up play, Taylor Sander.
Yeah, the touch there is just impeccable. He has that ability to just kind of elevate and seem to float there for a second while he contacts that ball. Have a look, great dig and great set as well. It's a little bit close. Taylor Crabb very patient in the backcourt.
Jump set. He was almost 2 there.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of that second part of the defensive equation, right? Is you got to make the good read, which he does. You got to be in good position, which he is. But then you've got to make the good contact, which was just not quite there from Crabb on that one.
Brian Miller has said that he needs to be a little risky when defining his own play. No risk on that one for Crabb.
That was a nice little pike into the cross court.
That was a star block. Usually you see the Y, but the star's a whole other level. Troublesome pass. And this time it's Sanders' turn.
I like that switch up from Crabby too. They've had a couple service errors early, just flattens that one out and still manages to cause some trouble for the Blaze. Good discipline at the net from Sander.
High tempo set.
Excellent move from Crabb in the backcourt, but that swing a little bit too good for Miller off the top of the hands.
If you were blocking Miller, what would you want to keep in mind?
That's a good question. You know, I think take away your spots, which Sander, has done an excellent job of. and you got to resist the urge to try and chase him up. He's a big guy.
This one fished out of the net. Crab tries to get there, but Cook unleashes.
His closing speed is phenomenal, Sean Cook. Because that ball wasn't above the net for very long. Have a look. Into the net. Just that boom, boom, final 2 steps.
Back-to-back points on the side of the Blaze. It does seem as if Miller is trying to get really up there and find the stuff block. The short angles are paying off right now.
Yeah, I think so too. He's gotten a couple big stuffs. He's gotten a couple swats on the loopy shots. So Crab's really got to find those more significant angles.
Crowd likes the serve, but Sander choosing to pull off the net.
Yeah, I mean, that's an indication too. I mean, that serve was absolutely beat, but it's right in the lap of Brian Miller, and he does an excellent job controlling it, right? We talk about sort of location trumping pace a lot of the time with your serve, and that's exactly why, because you can hit it as hard as you want. If it's right to a player, they're going to more often than not control it.
New York, a little short ball sent to Sander. And a net violation. Miller's trying to find those blocks.
I was going to say, I thought the net was bouncing a little bit, but again, just a missed contact. I think Sander, is expecting maybe a couple extra centimeters of elevation, or he's just a little bit early or something, because he's missing a few of those now off the fingertips.
Feels like he's in really great shape, having played indoor, but still, again, trying to find those sand legs.
Oh, yeah, that is a great move, staying big in the angle.
Apparently he can elevate with the swing block.
Yeah, I don't think it's a conditioning or an elevation issue. I think it's just a little bit of that timing element. Because that's, not sure how many that is for Sander now, but quite a few himself.
Sander now up to 5 total blocks. He's now just 1 behind that of Miller.
Right.
Oh, and he evens the score.
Yeah, and pushes New York in front, right? And will force Brooklyn into a timeout. So it has been a serving and blocking battle between these two teams. Aces and blocks abound.
12 points, 1 off of stuff blocks between these two teams.
Ladies warming up, they're coming up next.
Do you think that's a product of these athletes wanting to swing more because of the conditions, the neutral environment, or is that more so that they're just seeing something different?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think you do see a few more swings than maybe you do on kind of like a deeper natural sand beach.
Yeah.
But I tend to like that. I don't know if it leads to more blocks, because I think blocking is such a difficult thing. It may be that they're unaccustomed to doing that, so some of the angles that they're swinging at are not as good as they need to be, not as crisp as they need to be. That swing from Miller, a little bit what our boy Casey Patterson would call JV angle. You can't kind of swing directly to the corner. That's what the block's easily taking away, right?
Let's check in with Kevin Barnett real quick.
Hey, we were talking errors earlier, and I think it might be an error on the other side that could end up being a huge factor. It already is. Brian Miller having that net on the one that Taylor Sander hit out. That could have been a multiplier. The frustration of Sander mounting on his own errors, that could have had him maybe go into a funk for a couple of plays. Instead, he gets bailed out, and now his side is on the run and on the attack.
I like that term, Kev, multiplier. It's kind of a momentum killer one way, a momentum builder perhaps the other way. Those game management type things, always interesting to pay attention to.
9 apiece here. Cook awaits defensively, lays out, and finds the perfect set.
Oh my goodness.
You go, I go, nobody goes.
Yeah, and let's see if that's another multiplier, Kev, down there, because that is a critical point for the Nitro. And certainly one that could have sparked some momentum for the Blaze. Wide open net. You get another look there. Krabby just standing in for the heat, getting the winner.
Lead change once more, this time the Nitro. He almost saw too much court.
Yeah, and this is indicative of what can happen to the Blaze, what has happened to them a little bit, right? They have a play like the last one that kind of doesn't go their way, and they back it up with a mistake of their own making.
5-1 run here. Ducks out of bounds. This is the first ever league match with 2 players having 6+ blocks. Just breaking some records.
Yeah, hard to get it past the net.
New York trying to hang on to this 1-point lead.
A little bit of a chance to exhale if you're the Blaze on that service mistake from Sander.
Pushed perfectly to the right.
Yeah, and that is a great decision. Relatively easy serve, kind of that middle zone. Crab just showing perfect control, putting it up on a platter for Sander.
But the level of difficulty on that play should not go unnoticed. Cook goes right back to the cut shot. And Crab was all over it.
Again, Cook just shying away the last couple swings from that good, aggressive, hard-hitting posture we've seen from him the majority of this match. And not working out well, so they're going to have to dig deep.
New York ended on a 4-0 run in set 1, set 2, as that's why you're getting deterred at the net. Another block for Sander. 7 in total now.
Yeah, I mean, when we threw down to Kev, he talked about those multipliers. We saw 2 of them in this final set.
Match point here for the New York Nitro. Will it be with the on-1? Cook goes with the left hand. Why not a pokey dig? And the New York Nitro, not so fast. A touch from Taylor Sander. They do not take set 3 quite yet.
I don't know if I've ever seen that. If I have, it was probably from the same man that did it there, Taylor Crab, with the knuckle pokey dig.
That's when he's too fast to his spot. Second match point, and it's sealed with a missed serve by Sean Cook. So 15-11. Taylor Crab and Taylor Sander earn some congratulations. They pick up their first league win in 2025.
And a little bit of frustration continuing for the Blaze as they've been kind of right there in a lot of their matches, as you outlined, going 3 sets quite frequently, but just coming up on the wrong end time and time again.
So for the Brooklyn Blaze, they still remain winless on the men's side as we get set with Kevin Barnett and our winners. Take it away, Kev.
Yeah, here with Taylor. And Taylor Sander, start with you. A lot of frustration for you midway in that match. What do you do to get yourself back on track?
Yeah, I think we were just thinking too much. You know, we're out here trying to get our reps and get better, and it was a lot of errors for us, but you know, we made some plays and we won, and that's important. But we'll learn from this and continue to get better. It's a long league season, and yeah, stoked to get the win for our team.
Yeah, you put the W in there, and Taylor, you put in a lot of different shots here. We saw a whole myriad of stuff. How much are you pre-planning going into a play, and how much are you reading during?
I mean, 95% of the time reading. That's a big block up there, so I had to bring out all the tools.
Yeah, and he got you guys a couple of times. What were you seeing from him that you thought was working and you had to adjust to?
I think just keep mixing it up. He was kind of keying on when I was coming in to shoot, and then making big moves when I was coming in to swing, so just mixing it up.
Advantage of the side switch.
What do you mean by that?
For you playing over on the right-hand side, what do you like about that?
Yeah. I mean, it's new. Obviously, I just got back from playing indoor, so I'm still trying to get my feet under me. But you know, we love playing volleyball. No matter what side we're on, we're gonna do our best, and it'll take some time. But we got one of the best left side players in the world, and I like to bang on the right, so we'll get a little bit better.
Congrats on the W, boys.
Taylor Sander and Taylor Crab picking up the win for the New York Nitro. They will increase their cup standings position. And interestingly enough, Sander, that man was the blocker of the year in 2024. He had 1 week where he had 8, a second week where he had 7, and how about 7 more in this matchup in week 3 in 2025. It was a full-on blocking show. Coming up next, it's Quiggle, Rice, Denneberg, and Donlin. We can't wait to see it right back on the sand.